Right now at noon, a man is charged in connection to human remains discovered in a burn pit in Walworth County. Plus, how people in the Barron community are doing whatever is necessary to help Jamie Kloss adjust to her new life. And why Governor Tony Evers' administration is being sued.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 on this Tuesday afternoon. We'll get to those stories in a bit, but first, meteorologist Chris Reese is here. We'll look at your first alert forecast. Some slippery spots out there.
Yeah, there were, and a lot of school delays earlier this morning as well. Thankfully, those have had time to be treated now that the freezing drizzle has really come to an end. But we do still have the cloudy skies out there. Temperatures are also still in the 20s at this hour. 29 for us here in Madison. That cloud cover really helping to keep temperatures colder than they could be at this time. 31 as you work your way over towards basketball and lacrosse. And really that's where we saw those problems earlier today. So it is good news that we are starting to see their temperatures at least be closer towards that freezing mark. 20s as you work your way up towards the Northwoods as well. The entire state of Wisconsin, though, underneath a blanket of cloud cover, that's going to stay that way going through most of the rest of the afternoon and even into the evening. However, I do believe that we could see at least some clearing later on tonight into tomorrow. We'll have a cold front come through, bringing in some drier air. This should at least lead to some sunshine for your Wednesday. So in your forecast first, expect those temperatures falling through the 30s and into the 20s into the evening. Overnight lows tonight will be right around 23 degrees.
It would be nice to see some sun. It's been quite a gray stretch.
It has been a very gray stretch, so I think we'll enjoy the sunshine because there could be another gray stretch.
All right, one day at a time, I guess. All right,
absolutely.
Chris. See you in a few minutes. A man has been charged in connection to human remains discovered in a burn pit in Walworth County. Court records show 43-year-old Matthew Newman from Franklin is charged with 2 counts, including first-degree reckless homicide, hiding a corpse as a party to a crime. Newman was arrested after remains of 2 people were found in a burn pit in Walworth County last week. According to a criminal complaint, a forensics anthropologist says the remains found in the burn pit are of a 23-year-old male and 41-year-old male. The complaint says police were looking into an arson case in Milwaukee, and that led to a report of the 2 missing people. Police say surveillance video shows Newman at a Home Depot purchasing 4 bags of charcoal, lighter fluid, and 8 2x4s. Authorities are not releasing the names of the men killed because it's still an active investigation. Healthcare leaders in Jamie Kloss's hometown are ready to do whatever is necessary to help the teenager adjust to her new life. The 13-year-old is trying to deal with the trauma of her abduction and her parents' murder. DeMarco Morgan shows us what experts say should be done to help her recover.
We still don't know exactly what horrors Jamie Kloss may have endured while imprisoned in this dilapidated cabin for 88 days and witnessing her parents murdered. Now that she is safely back with her loved ones, this community is coming together to help her heal.
I don't think any of us who have never been through it can even try to put ourselves in those shoes.
Stacey Frolick, the Barron County Health and Human Services Director, says Kloss and her family will get whatever assistance they need from her agency.
Therapy, access, referrals, resources, potentially for some financial assistance if needed to the family.
3 of Kloss's relatives told Gail King they are not probing her with questions that might re-traumatize her or pushing her to tell her story before she's ready.
We have a lot of steps ahead, baby steps. A lot of different emotions are gonna come out. We're all stick together.
She's shy, she always has been, but she's getting there.
The rare and unusual circumstances of Kloss's ordeal may complicate her recovery, says Robert Lowry Jr. of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Her life has been completely shattered by this individual who also held her in captivity and over those 3 months did probably unspeakable things that involved this child.
Frolick says counselors have also been sent to help Kloss's classmates since her return.
The children are responding in different ways: fear, joy, sadness. And so there are supports that are established and will continue until they're no longer needed.
And she says it may take time for Kloss to return to a level of normalcy after her abduction.
It'll be a new normal, but will she get there? I think she will get there.
Frolick also points out that this is not just one person's struggle or one family's struggle. It's a tough time for the entire community, and she's asking any and everyone who needs mental or emotional support to contact her department immediately. DeMarco Morgan, CBS News, Barron, Wisconsin.
And while Jamie has not yet returned to school, officials say they'll be ready if and when she does. Two Wisconsin wedding barn owners are suing Governor Tony Evers' administration, seeking to ensure that private parties held at such venues don't need to obtain liquor licenses. The lawsuit being filed today in Dunn County Circuit Court comes after the future of wedding barns was thrown into question in November by former Wisconsin Attorney General Brad Schimmel. He issued an informal legal opinion saying that private events held in public spaces require liquor licenses. State law prohibits owners of public places allowing liquor without a license, but the law does not define what a public place is. Attorneys for the conservative Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty are bringing the lawsuit seeking a ruling that privately owned property holder events where alcohol is not sold do not need liquor licenses. President Trump is meeting with members of Congress for lunch today as the partial government shutdown enters its 25th day. Trump told farmers in New Orleans that he refuses to budge on his demand to build a wall along the southern border. But Democrats are also digging in on their demand that the president reopen the government before they negotiate on the wall.
Let's reopen government so we can have a mature discussion about border security without holding 800,000 federal workers hostage.
Trump is calling the solution to ending the shutdown simple. For now, he is backing off his threat to sidestep Congress and call a national emergency. The first day of confirmation hearings underway for Attorney General nominee William Barr. President Trump chose Barr to replace Jeff Sessions, who was the frequent target of Trump's frustrations with the Russia investigation. Barr told the Senate Judiciary Committee's special counsel Robert Mueller should be allowed to complete the Russia investigation. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. I'm next. We'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Grab your bib and your appetite because we're serving up a big bowl of pasta and lots of good times. It's all right here in the Test Kitchen. One of my favorite things to serve when I have a bunch of friends over is a big bowl of pasta, some crusty bread, and of course, a bottle of wine to wash it all down. To keep things interesting, though, I like to change up the shape of the pasta, like we're doing today. We start by cooking some pasta according to the package instructions. Here, I'm using what is known as mostaccioli, which is similar to ziti, but the ends are cut on an angle. Now for the sauce. In a large pot, we begin by browning some Italian sausage. As for the type of sausage, that can be beef, pork, or chicken, and as mild or as spicy as you like. To that, we add a chopped onion and green pepper, along with some minced garlic. After that cooks for a bit, we pour in a couple of jars of spaghetti sauce and some Parmesan cheese. While this simmers, I'll drain the pasta, and then it's time to toss everything together. Mamma mia, does this look good or what? This just proves that the simplest things are often the best. Maybe top it with some fresh basil and a bit more cheese before letting everyone dig in. To get the recipe for our mostaccioli and sausage toss, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a welcome to the family way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Thank you, Howard. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, a cloudy and mild winter day. Meteorologist Chris Reese has your first alert forecast when we come back. Well, airlines are feeling the pinch of the government shutdown, and Gillette asks, is this the best a man can get? Diane King Hall has more in today's Money Watch report.
The partial U.S. government shutdown is in its 25th day, and the impact to the airline industry is growing. Delta says it will cost the airliner $25 million in revenue this month as fewer government workers and contractors travel. Airports across the country have already grappled with fallout from the shutdown as TSA workers who aren't receiving paychecks call out sick. JPMorgan Chase is out with its quarterly report card and missed expectations for the first time in more than 3 years. While it performed better than Citigroup, trading volume fell. The nation's biggest bank says profit topped $7 billion. The secret is out. Ford and Volkswagen announced they are teaming up to make vehicles. The automakers inked a deal to develop commercial vans and mid-sized pickup trucks beginning in 2022. Both companies say they are also exploring how to work together on projects like electric and self-driving vehicles. A new Gillette ad called We Believe aligns itself with the Me Too movement. A male voice narrates over scenes of bullying, sexual harassment, and stereotypical images of masculinity. The marketing campaign asks the question, is this the best a man can get? The ad then highlights men taking action against inappropriate behavior and setting examples for young men and boys. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Diane, thank you. The Dow Industrial's up 164 points at the noon hour. The NASDAQ up 108. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee in the radio barn on this gray Tuesday.
Yeah, very gray out there, but at least temperatures are holding halfway firm. The market's a little cooler than our weather, I'm afraid, Mark. They're kind of waiting on the final answer on Brexit. The vote is scheduled for 1 p.m. Central Time. Most everybody agrees that it's probably going to fail, but then that kind of puts England into gray territory. We're not sure what that means. Will they exit the European Union? Will they stay? A lot of questions. And because the vote is scheduled for 1 p.m., we are expecting that it could impact our markets. We're trending lower on the midday, corn, beans, and wheat. Down in New Orleans yesterday, the president spent nearly an hour on stage in front of about 7,000 attendees at the 100th Centennial American Farm Bureau Federation annual meeting. As you would expect, the border wall and the government shut down two of the major staples that he was speaking to the audience about. He was very warmly received. He basically had them on their feet from the time he started till he asked them to sit down, and then multiple standing ovations after he rolled into the rest of his comments. He did bring on stage one Arizona farmer whose particular farm has been used multiple times as a crossing point for drug transactions. The farmer saying that he needs a border wall most definitely. So a lot of enthusiasm and emotion down in New Orleans yesterday. Congratulations also to Kelly Wilford from Manitowoc County. She finished third in the American Farm Bureau Federation's discussion meet and is on her way back with some great prizes thanks to Case IH and Stanley Black & Decker. Today, the barrel cheese dropped 2 cents to $1.21. 40-pound block cheese down a half at $1.41 3/4. Double A butter today unchanged, $2.25 3/4 per pound. So they're wrapping up the Farm Bureau convention down in New Orleans today. Going to be kind of tough to come to terms with leaving New Orleans and coming back to Wisconsin weather that looks like this, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Just leaving New Orleans in general is tough to do.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
All right, Pam, thank you.
Yep.
Chris Reese is here now with a look at our forecast. Maybe some sunshine.
Maybe some sunshine, but for now, Mark, things are very gray out there. Cloudy skies. That's been the case all morning. Really, that goes all the way back towards yesterday. Temperature still held in check. Below 30 degrees right now, thanks to that cloud cover. But the winds are coming out of the southwest at 7. At least it's a warmer wind direction. 30 right now as we work our way down towards Janesville. And we're really seeing those temperatures in the 20s and 30s across southern Wisconsin this afternoon. A little bit more into the 30s as you work your way down towards the southwest. Boscobel at 31, Prairie-du-Chien at 31, which is still below freezing. But those are some of the same areas that dealt with more of that freezing drizzle earlier today that even caused some school delays. So those warmer temperatures will certainly help out road crews be able to clear things up out there. 33 as you work your way out towards Des Moines. And generally things are slightly warmer back towards the south and west, but still cold enough to keep that snowpack in play. That is just to our south all the way throughout the Midwest. We do still have about a 3 to 6 inch snow depth, and they've had temperatures warm enough for some of their snow to melt since they received that snowstorm over the weekend. In the meantime, we're dealing with a lot of cloud cover across the upper Midwest right now. Really all of the Midwest does have that cloud cover in play, but a cold front is going to be sweeping through, followed up with high pressure. That, my friends, I do believe introduces some sunshine into the picture, especially as we go through Wednesday. But by Wednesday night, it's a new region of low pressure coming into the picture, and I'm already kind of laughing at this, but here comes more cloud cover. So enjoy that sunshine while you have it. Let's go ahead and take you hour by hour through the rest of today. We'll top out right around 33 degrees or so if we can get those temperatures to continue warming. Here comes that north wind later on tonight and into Wednesday morning. Temperatures starting out in the 20s, but you do see the skies are clear. We won't have as much cloud cover around. It's early on in the day on Thursday that we see that cloud cover coming back in. It's possible to see a flurry or two, but for the most part, we are going to be dry. Cold air, my friends, is coming into the picture, and we'll notice that as we get through the weekend. Here we are by the middle of this week. You see that cold air just to our north. Folks, that's going to dive down into the eastern part of the country. As it does so, there will probably be a headline-making winter storm somewhere from the Midwest through the Ohio Valley and towards the northeast. We will have to watch that for potential impact on our weather here in Wisconsin, but I do think most of the impacts look to be to our south as of now. But then once we get you towards the 25th, there's another shot of some cold air that comes into the pattern, and that one could be even colder than the cold air that we see coming in the meantime. So temperatures around 33 today. That's the warmest day of the forecast. By the time we get you towards the weekend, we could have days where 14 degrees is as warm as we get, and that is actually me being optimistic on temperatures. Some of the modeling is trying to keep that day into the single digits. You see those lows all the way down in the single digits, and if we get some snow this weekend, I think it is very possible to put a minus sign in front of some of these numbers. So the colder air that has really just been gone in a way, I do believe is preparing to enter into the country, and I do also believe that we'll see more snow chances coming up in our pattern as well.
And what 330 some days without single digits?
335 days now.
Wow.
That streak is very closely
looks like
ready
it's
to end.
coming to an end, as all good things must.
Yes.
All right, Chris, thank you. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, it's been 10 years since the miracle on the Hudson when a commercial jet landed on the Hudson River. We'll have one passenger story and how it's still affecting his life when we come back. Well, today marks the 10-year anniversary of the Miracle on the Hudson, one of the most remarkable moments in aviation history. Kenneth Craig caught up with one of the 150 passengers who were on board that flight.
A lot of memories.
This is the first time Jeff Kaloje has returned to the New York City pier where he was brought after being rescued.
I remember just looking back thinking, how did that happen?
10 years ago, he was a passenger on U.S. Airways Flight 1549 when Captain Chesley Sullenberger made an emergency landing on the Hudson River. This was Jeff on that frigid January day.
The left engine just blew. Fire flames coming out of it.
I still think, holy cow.
Jeff was headed to North Carolina on a golf trip with friends, family, and his father when the jet hit a flock of geese shortly after taking off from LaGuardia Airport and lost power in both engines.
We may end up in the Hudson.
Captain Sullenberger glided to an emergency landing in the river. Jeff was in the back of the plane.
When he said brace for impact, what went through your mind?
I thought we were going to impact the building. I still remember just standing up, and the plane had already filled with water. The water was really cold, but I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like I'm alive. This water feels so good, like I'm alive.
Sullenberger was called a hero for saving all 150 passengers and 5 crew members.
Did it change your life?
That's a good question. I like to think it did. I mean, what I take from it is the fact that it allowed me to live my life. I've got to raise my boy, have another boy, and spend a lot of time with my wife.
Jeff still thinks about it every day.
It'll be a memory that's etched in my head forever.
And a memory that's etched in the history books as the Miracle on the Hudson.
That was a remarkable story. We have some breaking news for you. Police are looking for a suspect as a homicide investigation is underway in Sauk County. Yesterday morning, a Lake Delton resident called the Sauk County Sheriff's Office to report a missing family member. According to deputies, that missing person was found dead in his vehicle in a parking lot behind the Ho Chunk Casino. Officials say an autopsy is underway. The exact cause of death is scheduled to be released later today. Deputies do have a suspect in mind. It's 68-year-old Robert Pulvermacher, but they do not have him in custody. We'll have more on this investigation later in our newscast and on channel3000.com. Quick check of the weather.
Yep, we're going to be staying cloudy, going through the rest of today. Some sunshine on Wednesday, snow by the weekend.
All right, we'll see you back here at 4. Have a great afternoon.